In the headlines, commuters stranded as fuel queues resurface in Lagos. Taraba pensioners storm State Assembly, decry hardship due to remittance failure. Federal government inaugurates committee to reduce running costs of foreign missions. And on the foreign scene, new UK Prime Minister Rishi Sunak makes first speech, vows to fix mistakes. Hello and welcome to Trust TV News Update. I am Ibrahim Yusuf. Hello and welcome once again. We begin in Lagos, where commuters were stranded at various bus stops in the state on Tuesday morning as fuel queues resurfaced in parts of Nigeria's economic nerve center. A visit to some parts of the state revealed long queues comprising private and commercial vehicles at filling stations. The queues spilled into main roads and took at least a lane as of 8 a.m. on Tuesday in areas like Agege, Alimosho, and Ikeja local government areas of the state. The queues appeared on Monday but worsened hours later as vehicle owners scramble for petrol. And to politics now, where members of the All Progressives Congress in Osun State on Tuesday walked over 10 kilometers in Osogbo to rally support for the presidential candidate of the party, Asiwaju Bola Tinubu, and his running mate, Senator Kashim Shettima. The state governor, Adegboyega Oyetola, who led the walk, said the APC is very strong in Osun State and will win the state in the presidential election. The chief press secretary to the governor, Ismail Omipidon, speaking exclusively with Trust TV, said APC remains the party to beat in Osun.
Asiwaju Bola Tinubu is the candidate to beat anytime, any day. By the grace of Almighty God, Asiwaju will be the president of this country come 2023.
I'm sure if you see the crowd is enough evidence to show that as far as Osun is concerned, APC remains the party to beat. The high point of this work for Asiwaju and Kashim Shettima is the fact that Mr. Governor has further demonstrated his physical capacity to remain as a leader of the party in the state.
Rivers State now, where the state governor, Nyesom Wike, says those who disrespect the state and its electoral importance do not deserve Rivers electorate to vote for them or their candidates in the 2023 general election. Governor Wike made this assertion during the inauguration of the Rivers State People's Democratic Party Campaign Council in Port Harcourt. The report.
The governor decried how Rivers State had been treated in the past, despite the bulk of votes delivered to the PDP since 1999. He pointed to how the PDP presidential candidate Atiku Abubakar picked people from Rivers State as members of the Presidential Campaign Council without any input from him, noting such action implies that they do not want the state to be part of what they are doing.
I have never seen how people would support a state like Rivers State and go and choose those who are enemies of the state. Enemies of the state. Without the contribution of we. So that's what they did. And so most of them do not even know, they don't understand. Who is our nominee in the campaign council they have? Nobody.
Governor Wike told the members of the Rivers PDP Campaign Council to have a different mindset because the strategies to be adopted for the 2023 election will not be like what they had known. He stated that PDP in Rivers State had done well for the people, adding that such a feat was attested to by President Muhammadu Buhari, which makes it more difficult for any party to have a chance of winning the election in the state.
This campaign council is completely strategy on how we're going to campaign, on how we're going to follow the election. This election is a different election.
The time for the game is here. You know, we've been waiting for this day to come. Now this day is here. I can tell you, Korean local government is ready.
Let's see the team that is about to inaugurate today. are the crusaders, the canvassers, and full soldiers who will canvass across the 6,866 units.
This battle is already won. PDP's battle in Rivers State is already won, such that the blind can see their achievements, the deaf can hear. We say, res iso cultura. The fact speaks for itself.
Governor Wike, who also donated 2 buses each to the 23 local governments, boasted that Rivers State is the envy of other states because of his remarkable achievements in office, which will be beneficial to all PDP candidates in the state during the campaign.
And to Taraba State now, where retirees in the state under the ages of concerned retirees on Monday stormed the State House of Assembly over alleged nonchalant attitude of the governor to their plight. Led by the Vice Chairman and Secretary of the Association, the pensioners demanded the payment of their 8 years unpaid pension and gratuities. The report.
The aggrieved pensioners said they have been without payment of pension for the past 8 years since the present administration came on board. They said many local government staff retired for over 8 to 10 years without being paid their pensions or gratuities, making life difficult and unbearable. The Vice Chairman begged the Speaker to use his good office to fight for their rights. He said all efforts to make the governor look into their plight proved abortive. While urging them to exercise more patience, the Speaker, Joseph Albasu Kunin, vowed to present their case to the governor. He said he will also work with stakeholders to ensure the problem is resolved. The pensioners' protest is the third in the space of 3 months.
And Muslim women in Osun State are training orphans and vulnerable children and also empowering underprivileged women in the state to become successful in life. They're also assisting poor communities in the state by building toilets and sinking boreholes to make life easier for rural dwellers. Hamid Oyegbadi filed in this report.
These are members of the Osun State chapter of the Federation of Muslim Women's Association in Nigeria. They are carrying out humanitarian work to help the needy in the society. As part of their services, they have trained many orphans and vulnerable children and empowered underprivileged women to escape poverty. They are also teaching women and children how to pray, read the Holy Quran, live in the way of Allah, and shun social vices. The Commissioner for Human Resources and Capacity Building in Osun State, Latifat Abiodun Giwa, who is a member of Form 1, said the association is helping people irrespective of their faith.
So far, both at the national, state level and the local government level, because we have been able to empower a lot of women. We have been able to teach a lot of men not just the Quranic, but how to live a good life. And we have been able to move a lot of men from poverty level to those who can even feed and even empower.
Sadiat Oladapo, the chairperson of Form 1 in Osun State, said the association is collaborating with other non-governmental organizations in the state to ensure good governance and better life for the people of the state.
Apart from that, Form 1 has been able to work with other NGOs on advocacy as far as election monitoring, health programs, education programs, humanitarian programs, etc.
Other members of Form 1, Maridia Omolara Adeyemo and Babalola Adubi, said the association has been committed to helping the poor in the state.
It has been 30 years of Dawa empowerment, girl, child and women empowerment, care of the orphans and care of the youths generally. So right from the inception, we have been taking care of orphans.
When we discovered that in Egbedi there is no public toilet, what do? We even ask them, what do you need in this community? We visited the Kabiyesi and all of them said public toilet.
The women offered special prayer for peace in Osun State and Nigeria. Amid Ojegbade, Trust TV News, Oshogbo.
President Muhammadu Buhari has given the Minister of Water Resources, Suleiman Adamu, 90 days to develop a comprehensive plan of action for the prevention of flood disaster in Nigeria. The President's directive was conveyed to the Minister in a letter signed by his Chief of Staff, Ibrahim Gambari, according to a statement on Monday by a presidential spokesman, Garba Shehu. According to the statement, Buhari ordered the Minister to coordinate with the Ministries of Environment and Transportation as well as state governments to develop the plan. Garba Shehu also said President Buhari is regularly receiving updates on the flood situation in the country and restates his commitment towards addressing the challenges caused by the disaster in the country. The National Emergency Management Agency, NEMA, said about 2.5 million persons have been affected so far and over 603 persons killed by the flooding caused by torrential rainfall in over 20 states across Nigeria. Thousands of houses have been submerged by floods and a large number of farmlands washed away in Nigeria's devastating floods, which have attracted international sympathies from King Charles III of the United Kingdom and also the United Nations. The Nigerian Air Force has commenced transporting relief materials to communities ravaged by flood in Bayelsa State. The relief materials were airlifted by the C-130 aircraft from Enugu to Port Harcourt and ferried to Igbogene in Bayelsa State using helicopters. In a statement by the Director of Public Relations and Information, Nigerian Air Force, Air Commodore Edward Gapquet, on Tuesday, the provision was to help the civil authorities alleviate the suffering of Nigerians affected by the flood. This is not the first time the Nigeria Air Force will be providing aid in the form of airlift to civil authorities. In March 2020, the Air Force airlifted medical materials donated by the Jack Ma Foundation, consisting of 107 boxes of medical supplies and equipment weighing over 1,360 kilograms. Also in April 2020, the Nigeria Air Force airlifted medical equipment and supplies donated by the Turkish government from Lagos to Abuja. Similarly, in March 2021, the Air Force airlifted COVID-19 medical relief materials donated by the Economic Community of West African States. Wife of the APC presidential candidate, Senator Oluremi Tinubu, has donated the sum of 10 million naira to victims of flood disaster in Benue State. Senator Tinubu made the donation at the presidential lodge at Benue People's House, Makurdi, when she visited the state to sympathize with those displaced by flooding in some parts of the state. Tinubu, accompanied on the visit by the wife of the APC vice presidential candidate, Nana Shetima, Regina Akume, state APC governorship candidate Hyacinth Alia, and his running mate Sam Ode, said she had a good relationship with the people of Benue State, and as such, what affects the people also affects her. She expressed optimism that the relief items, including cartons of noodles, pasta, sugar, beverages, rubber cups and disposable plates, will provide succor to the victims. Receiving Senator Tinubu in Makurdi, the wife of the Benue governor, Mrs. Eunice Autumn, assured that the relief materials she donated to the state will be judiciously distributed to the victims of the flood. On behalf of the government and people of the state, she expressed appreciation to Senator Tinubu for the visit to identify with the flood victims, stating that her visit rekindled hope in the flood victims. Autumn mandated the Executive Secretary, State Emergency Management Agency, Emmanuel Shaw, to ensure judicious distribution of the relief materials to only those who have been affected by the flood. You're watching Trust TV News Update. And still ahead, we'll give you the story of a promotion and preservation of cultural artifacts. Details of this and more after the break. Stay with us.
That's great. It's good to see you.
Welcome back, and thanks for staying with us on Trust TV News Update. Now let's recap our top stories. Commuters stranded as fuel queues resurface in Lagos. And Taraba pensioners storm State Assembly, decry hardships due to remittance failure. Moving on to other news now, the federal government has inaugurated the Presidential Committee on the review of numbers and strategy for resourcing Nigeria's diplomatic missions worldwide. At the inauguration in Abuja on Tuesday, the Secretary to the Government of the Federation, Boss Mustapha, said Nigeria's diplomatic missions overseas are faced with multifaceted challenges, including perennial indebtedness, which pose attendant damage to our nation's integrity. He said the establishment and deliberate composition of the Presidential Committee will enable President Buhari to tackle the root cause of the critical state of affairs of the country's diplomatic missions in particular, and its impact on the image of Nigeria on the international arena in general. Among many things, the committee has a responsibility to drastically reduce costs of running Nigeria's foreign missions and document all assets of Nigeria's foreign missions. The committee is chaired by Ambassador Martin Ohumoibi and Alhaji Sabiu Zakari as vice chairman. The National Population Commission is set to conduct a trial post-enumeration survey in Daura local government area of Katsina State. Now, this is preparatory to the first fully digital population and housing census in April 2023. In Katsina, Abdullahi Amadi reports that the post-enumeration survey is to be carried out to check the accuracy of the trial census conducted in July 2022.
The post-enumeration survey will allow the Population Commission to understand and determine the number of people missed, counted twice, included by mistake, or counted in the wrong place. The trial post-enumeration survey is an integral part of the successful census in line with the United Nations principles and recommendations for population and housing census.
The Commission is placing premium importance on this exercise. As you know, a population census is the official enumeration of all persons in a country at a specific time. This encompasses the collection, compilation, evaluation, analysis, publication, and dissemination of demographic, social, and academic statistics relating to the population.
The Commission has constituted an independent team saddled with the responsibility of preparing and conducting post-enumeration survey. This is expected shortly after the conduct of the 2023 Digital Population and Housing Census in Nigeria.
The objectives of this trial post-enumeration survey are: 1. To measure coverage error due to either under-coverage or over-coverage of persons, in some cases households, units in trial census. 2. To determine content errors through measuring levels of agreement in responses to questions on selected characteristics such as sex, age, marital status, relationship to reference person or household. 3. To identify procedural and conceptual limitations in the census which needs the improvement in future censuses and large-scale surveys.
The trial post-enumeration survey will be carried out in November in the 127 enumeration areas in each one local government in one state of the 6 geopolitical zones. The NPC Federal Commissioner, Engineer Bala Almubanye, gives assurances that the Commission will conduct a credible census, the result of which can be used as a planning tool for national development. Abdullahi Ismayamadi, Trust Television News, Katsina.
And in order to protect the identity of every ethnicity across the country, and particularly the Yoruba race, the Are Onibon Balogun of Ibadan land, Adegboyega Taufik, has admonished governments at all levels on the promotion and preservation of cultural artifacts. He gave the charge while speaking to newsmen in Ibadan during the celebration of this year's Aboshe Day. The Are Onibon of Ibadan called on the government to provide an enabling environment for the protection and preservation of cultural and traditional heritage and values which offer an insight into the technological processes, economic development, and social structure, among other attributes of the people.
We encourage every nation as it is our own culture, and we need to celebrate our culture. In fact, we can make a lot of money from tourism by celebrating our culture. There are several cultures that we can sell to the world. So I encourage government to invest in tourism, and the only way to invest in tourism is to encourage different segments of the society, different ethnicities, to celebrate their culture, to teach our children about our culture, so that it doesn't go to waste. We can make money from it. We can develop the economy and the nation from it. We are no family in Ibadan. All of us should come together as one. Nothing should separate us. Not politics, not religion. We should see ourselves as brothers and sisters. We should work together for the development of Ibadan land. It is when Ibadan is happy that we are all happy. We are all brothers and sisters, and we do not fight.
The Independent Petroleum Marketers Association of Nigeria, IPMAN Western Zone, has attributed the increase in the pump price of petrol to the hike in private depot prices. The chairman of IPMAN Western Zone, Dele Tajuddin, disclosed this in an interview on Tuesday in Lagos. Tajuddin, while condemning the increase, said there had been an increase in the depot price of fuel from 148 naira 17 kobo per litre to 178 naira per litre since last week. According to him, none of the Nigeria National Petroleum Company Limited depots has the product, and private depots took advantage of the situation to hike the price. The IPMAN chairman said that the marketers should not be blamed for the increase in pump price, adding that selling at 170 naira per litre is not realistic. Now for a look at the foreign scene, where Britain's new leader Rishi Sunak pledged on Tuesday to restore trust in the UK politics and fix the mistakes made under his predecessor Liz Truss in his first speech from Downing Street after he was appointed Prime Minister by King Charles III. Sunak is the UK's third leader this year, and he formally took over power in an audience with King Charles III, who invited him to form a government in a meeting at Buckingham Palace. The 42-year-old Hindu is Britain's first Prime Minister of colour and the youngest in more than 2 centuries. Sunak became the ruling Conservatives' new leader on Monday after rival contender Penny Mordaunt failed to secure enough nominations from Tory MPs, and Boris Johnson dramatically aborted a comeback bid. Now, according to officials, a school fire broke out on Tuesday in the region of Mukono in central Uganda, which resulted to the deaths of 11 pupils and 6 others in critical condition. A police statement released locally said the unfortunate incident at Salama School for the Blind happened in the early hours of the morning. According to the statement by police, the cause of the fire is still yet to be ascertained. In Uganda, school fires frequently break out, and the most recent fire occurred in January when 4 kids perished in Kampala, the capital city. And in sports, a Russian court has rejected an appeal by US basketball star Brittney Griner against her 9-year jail term for drug charges. The court near Moscow upheld the sentence, with the state prosecutor calling it fair. The double Olympic winner apologized for her honest mistake in her appeal hearing via video link, saying it had been a very stressful period. 32-year-old Griner was convicted in August of smuggling and possessing cannabis oil. It was not immediately clear whether all her legal routes had been exhausted. The sportswoman's lawyer, Alexander Boykov, said his team hoped that a prisoner exchange would be possible. And that wraps up Trust TV News Update for this hour. For more news, you can subscribe and follow us across all our social media platforms. I am Ibrahim Yusuf. Thanks for watching.